Welcome to another installment of Airsoft Reports. Today, we're going to take a look at the JG AK47 Spetsnaz. Now the first thing we want to do is chrono this AK and see how fast each BB is being fired. Let's take a look. Now to give you an idea of how well it shoots, we're going to fire a string of 5 shots using 0.2 gram high precision BBs. Those numbers are right in line with what we had tested before when we found an average FPS of about 341 feet per second. Now what you're looking at is one of JG's newest entries into the mid-priced automatic electric airsoft gun market. There are many things that we like and a few that have us a little concerned. Let's just start going left to right. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about the stock, the handle, and the foregrip because they're all very similar. They have a matte rubber finish that makes them feel maybe more qualitative than some of the earlier offerings. The best way to describe it is sort of like if you've ever handled a Nextel or really any kind of cellular phone that has a sort of protective rubber finish. The best example, the best comparison I can think of is the Motorola Q. If you've ever got your hands on that, it feels almost identical. Any of you who've had any experience with the AK47 line, really from any manufacturer, will be fairly familiar with this one as most of the features remain just about the same. You've got the solid stock, and in it is housed the 8.4 volt 1500 milliamp NiCad battery. It's accessed by simply popping off the butt plate on the end, removing it, and then sliding out the battery. For the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to leave it connected and put it back in. You get the general idea. Putting the butt plate back on generally is a pretty easy deal. You just make sure the battery is, flush and then slide the plate upward. Now, as far as metal parts go, there's a fair amount. The trigger guard is metal, along with the magazine release lever. The trigger, we're not quite, actually it is metal. At first we thought it was plastic, but then we scraped a little bit of the paint off and discovered it was metal. But the frame is actually plastic. So this area here, this is all plastic. Fire selector switch is metal, and the upper portion of the receiver is metal as well. The fake charging handle and dust cover, also metal. And of course it slides back to expose the hop-up, which is just a straightforward lever. It's, forward is less hop-up, backwards is more. There are some minor issues with this system because obviously if you're trying to fine-tune your hop-up, you've got to use one hand to pull it back or at least contort your hand while trying to make the precise adjustments. So not a big deal. On the flip side of that, of course, very hard to accidentally adjust or bump the hop-up lever. You do have a rail on the front foregrip. It's small, but you could put either an RIS handle or perhaps flashlight, laser, whichever you prefer. The faux flash hider and what is technically an expansion chamber, of course, is also metal. That sort of surprised us. And the front sight assembly, also metal. The instructions, of course, they're not written the best, but they claim that you can actually unscrew the entire flash hider expansion chamber assembly by pushing this small button back. Now we've done that, or tried to do it I should say, and have not gotten it to go really much past what you see there without using a lot more force than we're willing to use right now. One other thing, again, most AK-47 airsoft enthusiasts will recognize is the fact that the top receiver is removable. I'm going to flip this here so you can get a better view. It's a fairly straightforward matter of pushing the button and popping it off. Now, this, according to the instructions, is simply a weight, a placeholder basically. If you happen to get an AK47 model that has the folding stock, you would be forced to use the stick type battery, which would be placed here. Putting this receiver portion back on is a little tricky. It shouldn't be, but it is until you've done it a couple of times. You'll get the hang of it quickly enough. From this angle, you should be able to see generally the fairly crude sight system. It differs from the standard AK47 in that there is no adjustment. It's completely fixed. You've just got the front little blade sight there, and this, although this little guy does turn, at first we thought that actually, move the front sight aperture up and down. We've turned it dozens of times and have found that really it's just turning in place, doing nothing. That is one part of this gun we don't like, because the BBs are actually off a little bit from the fixed sight system on the gun. But enough about the features. We've covered all the basics. Let's see how accurate it is.